and Administrative Manager, and colleague Mr. Oscar Zheng, who has performed the task with high efficiency and proficiency. On behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to acknowledge our gratitude to our two keynote speakers, Professor Lau Yin-tak Allen from the Polytechnic University and Dr. Pomfret from the Hong Kong Universities. And grateful thanks. And may I also take this opportunity to express our warm thanks to Professor Poon Wai Yin from the Chinese University of Hong Kong. She will come in the afternoon. And big welcome to Professor Chen Cheng Kiu, the Associate Vice President, Academic Affairs and Registrar of the Lingnan University, for participating in our conference as observers to share their comments and suggestions in enhancing the learning and teaching initiatives in this event. I believe the first approach to engage student learning is working together with students, like what we have done this time. It takes more time and effort to coordinate students and mentor them in the beginning, but it is an effective and fruitful experience for me. I think besides knowledge and techniques, students will learn to meet work requirements and to learn from us the proper attitudes towards work and responsibility, and to become mature and competent. So, like this poster expressing through the loop of our 4 color ribbons, joined together with locks in the poster, our large logo here symbolizes the articulation of learning and the articulation of our 4 focus areas that we focus this year in learning and teaching, and especially the strength of holding hands team spirit in the Institute in achieving our goals. My heartfelt thanks to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Fo. And now, here comes the sections of the keynote presentations. And may I invite Dr. Fo to introduce our keynote speakers, please.
All right, sorry, me again. Now, guests and audience, can I introduce our first keynote speaker, Professor Lau Yin-tak Allen. Professor Lau has a long CV, so you have to be patient to hear all this in details. Professor Lau started his career as a craft apprentice in 1986. Afterwards, he received his B. Engineering and Master of Engineering in Aerospace Engineering from RMIT University, Australia, and got his PhD at PolyU. Professor Lau is a very active researcher and has significant contribution to the field of science and engineering. He was elected as member of the European Academy of Sciences in 2007. Currently, Professor Lau has received over 2,650 citations with H index and citations per paper of 26 and 20, respectively for his papers published in science journals. He has also received numerous research and teaching awards in the past few years, which including Sir Edward Yost Memorial Fellowship Award in 2000, Young Scientist Award 2002, Young Engineer of the Year Award 2004, Award for Outstanding Research in Nanocomposites for Space Application, USA in 2006, Chemical Physics Lattice Most Cited Paper Award 2008, and the Ernest L. Boyer International Award for Excellence in Teaching, Learning, and Technology, USA in 2009. He is the first scholar outside the United States to receive this honor, and the most cited paper awards in Composites Part B Engineering issued by the Elsevier Science. In 2011, Dr. Lau received the Outstanding International Researcher Award and the Outstanding International Researcher Leader Award from the International Association of Multidisciplinary Research. Besides those big accomplishments, last year in 2013, Dr. Lau was awarded the University Grant Committee UGC Award for Teaching Excellence, which is the most prestigious teaching award in Hong Kong. So today, Professor Lau's topic of presentation is engaging the industry to enhance students' learning interests. Professor Lau Kin-tak, please.
Good morning. Let me take out my PowerPoint first. So here, and I have to open another one things here somewhere. So be this one. Okay, that's it. Thanks for the chairman to make a very brief introduction about myself. Actually, my study is from aerospace engineering, and then after I moved back to Hong Kong, I worked in the School of Design. And then later, I moved to mechanical engineering. And reason is, I'm handling the new program is aircraft. You can say the name is air transport engineering. Basically, it's aircraft engineering. And when you see my career path up to this stage, actually, I'm receiving my education in different fields. But ultimately, all knowledge I learned actually can be used, no matter which area you go to. So I can see that this actually the Hong Kong IED is new to me, and this is the first time I came here. And actually walking around and then see the disciplines provided by Hong Kong IED is quite diversity. But remember one thing is that no matter what you learn, the knowledge is more important. It's not the field. Okay? The way how to use your knowledge to apply into different fields, that is the ultimate goal you have to go. And not just to say I'm learning ask, and eventually you have to learn ask. And I was learning aerospace engineering, but ultimately I work in the School of Design. So it doesn't matter where you feel you learn, but remember one thing is knowledge is more important. So what I'm trying to do is today I give you the topic is engaging the industry and to enhance the student learning interest. But what I'm trying to do is I will give a brief introduction about my teaching philosophies before I go to how I engage with the industry. Actually, this PowerPoint presentation partially I used for the university presentation as well. And then what I'm trying to do is after I give my presentation, there's a lot of people query and ask me a lot of questions. And what I'm trying to do, I give you the summary about the question they asked first before I go to the detail of my presentations. A lot of people will say doing a good teaching is very difficult, particularly now working at the universities, because all universities are talking about how many papers you can publish. I mean, that's go to research. But in reality, okay, would it be said teaching is not important? So the people ask me about you are doing a good teacher, you are doing a lot of teaching activities. You are good teachers. But in reality, my research performance is much better than my teaching performance. So I can tell you about you can do both. You cannot just say, I want to do a good teacher, but I'm not doing research. If you're not doing research, how could you tell the student about new technologies and the new stuff happen in the outside? So research and teaching, to me, are both equally important. And you cannot just ignore one and then just to focus on the other one. And the other second question, people query, okay, because you're a professor, you are the regular terms, you don't need to care about your contract renewal. So no matter what you want to do, you can do it. But I can tell you about all the activity I show in here, or the latest slide. At that time, my contract is a contract base and yearly renewed. So even worse than the current situations. Current situation we call 3+3. So all the new staff come to the university, they have 3-year contract. And then if you are doing well or meet the thresholds, then you got another 3 years, so totally 6 years. And then afterward, you either go to the associate professor or you have to go. But at that time, when I joined Hong Kong Poly U, my contract is a yearly basis. So every year I have to renew the contract. If I'm not doing well, I got trouble. Okay, but if you want to do well, just research. But that's not true. If you just do research, why you have to work here? You have to think about how much salary you have, how much taxpayer pay your salary, and why they want to pay you high salary, because they want you to cultivate a good next generations. They want you to do a good job to cultivate, to teach well of the kids. So think about your goals, why you're here, and not just fighting for your contract. And then the people who curious about team size. You're a big team, you can do everything. But I tell you about at that time only myself, because yearly no student would like to follow you do a PhD. Okay, the students are very careful. They will find a big professor to be their professor, to be their supervisors. So at that time, only myself. And the motivations, would it be top-down approach? Because the president wants you to do, then you have to do. But I tell you about the president will not tell you how to do. President will only look at what outcome you have, and then he try to support you. So self-motivation is very important. So all these are questions, the 4 big questions they ask after my presentation. So you can listen to my presentation, and after you think about where these questions still exist in your brain or not. So of course, at that time, it's very difficult for me. Okay, it's a one-man band. Okay, have to do everything. Okay, before I go further, one thing we want to ask: what is the best university? How to define it? The way to do it is easy. Look at the research output. Okay, that's quantitatively you can measure number of paper you have, number of citation you have. Okay, citation paper, all these kind of things. You can numerically measure, very easy. And look at the incomes you have to your university, also easy. How many consultancy projects you have doing, how many student number, okay, you draw into your university, and so on. Then you can easily to count it. And teaching. How to assess? Okay, I do not think so that anyone, okay, working in the university can tell you exactly, okay, or precisely how to measure a good teacher. Okay, can we say how many number of teachers? The number of teachers is more. Okay, that you have good, your university has good teachings. Or we can say a number of students. You can draw more students than your university has good teaching university. It's not like that. So, for my personal opinion, is measuring teaching is very difficult because you cannot measure. You cannot say after examinations. Then the day after, you can measure. Okay, whether your teacher could taught you is good or not. The most important is look at our alumni, our graduates. Why is MIT and Harvard is so famous? Because their alumni, they are paying back to their universities much. After they graduate, about 5 years, 10 years, when they got the money, they will donate the money back to the university because they still feel their sense of belonging is very strong. The second is whether your graduate or alumni are willing to support your university or not. This is evidence to show whether your university is doing good teaching or not. So, of course, all these are always argued with our presidents all the times. Of course, we have some measures have been changing. Reason is, we are not looking at a short-term measure. We are looking at long-term. But the most important is the alumni survey, and also whether you can get the alumni to support your university activity or not. So this is very important. Just like here, I make a joke to our presidents. Okay, our chief executive actually is our alumni in 1997. Okay, but the problem is he does not mention anything about PolyU. So this is a joke I make to our president. Of course, when the time I talk about this, is paraphrase, but it doesn't matter. Okay. So what I'm trying to do today is sharing with you my teaching practice. Okay, OBE, how to start this kind of industrial engagement activities. But the most important to me is education is not the learning of facts, okay, but the training of the minds to things. Okay, all of you are big girl, big boy. Okay, I do not want to take a book, textbook, and then go to word by word to teach you. You can read it at home by yourself. But while you attend the lecture, that is the key. So when you look at here, later on, okay, before you go to teach, you have to making sure that what kind of factor that will affect, okay, your teaching quality. Okay, student quality, when the time you get a good student in, okay, of course, somehow even you don't teach, you may get a good student out. But if that's the case, again, going back to the original problem, why the taxpayer pay you so much money? Okay, even you think about your quality is not that good, but our role is to try to change you to be a very good people, go back to the community. So student quality to me is not one issue. Textbook, okay, and now almost all universities don't use textbook. Class disciplines is very important. We have to control because not really because you come late, you will interrupt, okay, my presentations because I have to teach you, to train you how to control yourself. When you go out to work, your boss will not allow you to come late. You have to prepare yourself, self-discipline, at the early stage. So class discipline is one way to train you before you go to the industry. And then go to the another things. That's a quite time-consuming, and a lot of lecturers, they don't like to do. That is this area. What's that? How to prepare good lecture notes. How to enhance the student learning interest by using web-based assistive tools, or any out-of-class activities your lecturer would like to organize. Okay? All of this I can tell you about if I'm doing all these kind of things, okay? It's almost it's equal, okay, effort I put to write 3 more papers. So a lot of professors, they like to select, okay, I write papers better or I do this better. So of course the smart one would do the paper. But in reality, come back to the original. That's your role, working in the university? So of course, you're working all this. Ultimately, what happened? So exhausted. Okay? There's one of the issue is you are a lecturer, so later on you'll become a teacher. Okay? But when you work on this, of course, okay, you are working as quite exhausted, okay, you are working very tired. But later on we'll show to you about, okay, what is the reward you will have. This one. Yep. Okay, Anna. Yep, okay. So before you start to teach, okay, think about one important issue, why the student need to learn. Then, how I can apply the knowledge that I have learned. What is the value of attending a lecture? This is the most important and the third point. A lot of students, okay, we have a lecture at 8:30, but why the student have to wake up so early to come to your class? What's the point? Before you prepare your lecture note, prepare your lectures, you have to think about yourself. Why the student come to my lecture? I told my student all the times, what I'm saying in the lectures, okay, may not be correct. But technology is going fast. What I learned maybe 5 years ago, but yes, maybe new technology already come up. To replace the technology I know, that's 5 years ago. The second issue is what I'm saying in the class will go to the exam. What I'm putting in the lecture notes may not go to the exam. Then the student will attend the class. And this is not the trick, because why the student come to the lecture? Because they want to learn from your experience, not they want to come here to learn something already from the book. Okay? As I mentioned to you, very clear. Okay? If every knowledge I told you that's from the book, why you need to come? Just go back, okay, to the library to read the books by yourself. What I need to do is tell you about my experience, how I can apply the knowledge I learned from the book and really put in the real practice. That's the most important and the most valuable things. You come to the lectures, and then from that point onward, then you know how to prepare your lecture notes. So try not to put too many equations in the lecture notes. Put more case study in the lecture notes. But the case study, you need to accumulate a lot of experience to work on that. So if you look at all this, okay, you think about yourself on all these points, then when the time you prepare your teaching materials, then you are more easy, okay, to control the class, because the student come here with curiosity. Students come here want to learn something new and not from the book. But if you copy everything from the books to prepare your lecture notes, I can tell you about students who come the first 2 weeks. And then later on, they will selectively, few students come to take the lecture note and go out. And then make a copy to all the lecture note to all the students, the rest of the students. Then nobody come to your class. So if you want to control your class, the first 2 lectures, you have to be very careful to manage. Okay, even my colleagues asked me about this. I told them about the first 2 lectures are the key. Student doing a job is the first 2 weeks. Student, whether they want to come to your lecture, will be designed in the first 2 weeks. If you do not manage well in the first 2 week lectures, nobody will like to come. But remember, when they give a very clear message to the students, okay, I teach you something that is a very practical. Okay, I teach you something that is not from the book. You may not be able to find from the book. Then they will like to come and learn. Okay, that's an important trait to use. So if you look at the teaching philosophy, okay, when you talk in the class, it doesn't mean you teach. Okay, you can just memorize everything from the book and then teach to talk in the class. When a student listens, it doesn't mean they learn, because a lot of students still like to play in their iPhone, play in the game in the class, in the lecture room. Okay, but I'm not talking about all of you here. Okay, I'm talking about the university students. Okay, most of the students, they sit behind. Okay, normally they have an iPad or an iPhone in front of them. So normally when I'm taking the class, I seldom to use a mic, just walking around because my son is loud enough, okay, to talk in the class. And you do the test, doesn't mean they know. So normally examination paper, I can tell you about, I don't put the question very similar in the textbook. Just put a case study. Even draw this one and drop this one to the floor and ask the student what would happen. And I can tell you about the question. It's very simple, okay? It's very simple, very similar to the question in the book, but just change the form. And then all the students scared, okay? But the equation, everything will be the same. So during your teaching in the class, you have to tell the student how to apply that kind of equation really in the real life, okay? Otherwise, you learn a lot of equation, you do a very good examination, it's useless, okay? Why the industry, they always criticize some university students, they are not good. The reason is that they do not know how to apply. Even later on you become a teacher. How you can convince the student the thing they learn is good, or is useful to their life. You need some trick. That is a practical experience you have to learn and you have to convey to the students. So now everything you talk about outcome-based. I still remember when the time I studied in high school, okay? What I try to do is I have to listen to all our teachers, okay, to obey what the instruction, to memorize all the things they taught me, and then just go to exam. But now everything talking about outcome-based. Examination is not the whole, it's the outcomes. After you graduate, all teacher here, okay, later on you become a teacher, and what's the outcome? I want you to teach, I want you to work in the school, I want you to become a quicker teacher in the future. That's the outcomes. So that's not easy to do, but to be a university later on, even here as an institution now, maybe later become a university. Outcome-based will be one of the assessment criteria. Okay, I'm an assessor for the engineering professional bodies to the university programs, and then we all talk about outcome-based. And this year I have to accredit 3 universities, and this is not easy to do. So to be a good teacher, okay, one thing is the attitude, yourself. I'm not talking about attitude of students, okay? Yourself, and then how to enhance the learning interest, and what kind of tools we should use, okay, and how to promote the lifelong learning. That's very important, okay. In the long time ago, okay, when I was young, lifelong learning is not that important because there's no internet, okay, and the technology is not go that fast. But now it's the difference. Everything go very fast, and the lifelong learning is a very crucial, and you have to keep up to date your knowledge yourself. So for the material, okay, we teach, okay, there's a lot of things we can use. A lot of professors, they still like to use their lecture notes. That's it, okay? Just a very boring lecture notes. And they forget about there's a lot of tools can help you to enhance the student understanding about your subjects. Particularly if some student, if you are talking about materials, physics, chemistry, biology, all these are very, very boring subjects if you are not a good math people. But if you come along with a lot of interesting tools, you can teach a student very, very good, very, very well. And the student may actively participate into your experiment or your discussions. So what we try to, even if you talk about car engine, we brought one of the very small modern car engine from the Amazon. It's not expensive, $200 to $300. Okay, but I spent about 4 hours to assemble them. And then when you show it to the student immediately understand about the operation of the car engines. Then after they know about the operation of the car engine, then you go back to the theory. Then they know why they need to learn about the theories. But if you start from the theory and then go back to the car engine, because at the very beginning, okay, in Chinese phase, 先入為主, they don't like it already. Then they don't like to learn. Even you show them about car engine later on. So what we try to do, we have to reverse it, okay? Show something interesting to them, okay? This is the end product, this is the end way you apply your knowledge. Then you're going back to the original equation to tell them how to develop this equation to suit this kind of products. And even now, we have a very good tools, okay, for the apps. Everybody has if you have a smartphone, you know there's so many apps. We even talking about design the aircraft wing. We have a wind tunnel. We don't need to use a wind tunnel. Use the apps. And then you can change the aircraft wing at any angle. And then you will see there's what is the airflow look like. And it's better you go to the lab to spend about 5 to 10 hours do the laboratory sessions. So everything we can use some of the tools that can help you to create the interest to the students. Because I'm teaching the aircraft subjects now, And then what I'm trying to do using these kind of apps, and then tell the student if the aircraft going in a certain angle, they got trouble, see here, okay? Or the fall here is turbulence, and the aircraft will drop. And you should show about this kind of thing to assist you to teach, okay? You can easily create an interest for the, to your student, and then later on they can learn a lot of things. But how do you get the response? The most important is that after the class, if the student come to ask you the questions, then you have success. But if the students, after the class, they all gone, then you have to go back and revisit about what you did, okay, in the class. So normally what I'm trying to do, I will finish my class about 20 minutes, okay, in advance, and then just wait there, and then wait the student to ask the questions. And then that is a way, okay, to be a good class, or good lectures. And go to here, okay, good teacher practice. I'm saying one thing is of course, this slide actually is make a lot of people angry. Be punctual. I'm not talking about students, I'm talking myself. The reason is I give this presentation to my colleagues, and I'm doing a peer review to our colleagues, okay, their teaching performance in the class. And the class starts at 6:30, and I were there, okay, 6:45, because I assess, I'm not a lecturer for that class. I just went there to assess the teaching performance. I went there, and then all students already in the class, and they feel very happy at that time when they saw me, because they thought the lecturer is coming. And now I wait there for about 30 minutes, 7:15, and the lecturers start to come to the class. So what happened is that in the first lecture, the student feel the lecturer will come late. Then they are very clever. The second lecture, they won't come early. Okay? This time they come 6:30, but the lecturers come 7:15. And the next lecture, the student will come 6:30, but in the canteen. And then they finish their dinner and then come to 7:15. So you have no way to control the disciplines. So the most important is that even, okay, we talk about supervisors, your PhD supervisors, they have to create a good model to their students, okay? They are doing well, they are work hard to do their work. And then the students are very careful, they are not looking at time, they are looking at the attitude for their teachers, lecturers, or professors. And then they will follow and doing a good job. So, sticking on the syllabus to teach, there's a lot of very careful teachers, okay? They just teach something that they know. They try to get aware of something they don't know not to teach it. So try not to do this way, okay? Because the student taking your class because they want to learn something that's already laid down in the syllabus. And real-life example is important, okay? Observe the response for the students is very important, and get students involved in your teaching. Later on, we'll talk about this. And super tools is very important. So what I'm trying to say is that try not to create a scenario like this. This is a scenario you want to see. So of course, I give the lecture about 4 hours and forget about it. Okay, no way to keep the people waking up all the times. But normally, lecture is about 2 hours. Keep talking, it's more than enough. Okay. Okay, go to here. What is the meaning of the real example? This is the questions where normally the lecturer, okay, or professor like to use in the exam. But when the time we teach, do we need to really using this kind of boring example, boring questions? And this question, you even do not know what exactly means. Then we convert it a little bit. Put 2 people there, and then we are talking about this, the wage. This actually is the symbol of the wage. But if you put this way, everybody know, okay, when I design a bar, 2 people sitting, one girl sitting on the top, one's handing at the bottom, and then how to calculate the problem of these 2 strings. Make the thing clear. And then something even simple. Do the animations. Everything showing to you is a very, very simple and easy to understand. Why the fighter have this kind of clouds, okay, beside it. And then this one, okay, this is a simulation. Now we do the test.